Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glue Boy podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and join me again today is Bruce. He's becoming a bit of a regular guest now these days.
It's a pleasure to be here as always, Carl.
It's a pleasure to do this show, but the topic of conversation has not been much of a pleasure this season. Manchester United, another spineless performance last night, entirely predictable, going down 4-0 to Liverpool at Anfield to add to the 5-0 thrashing at Old Trafford. And overall, against City and Liverpool this season in the four games, we've lost by an aggregate score of 15-1. It's just absolutely humiliating. The players just don't seem to care anymore. Much of them have checked out. And I think the fans are just, they went from being totally dejected, and I think there's a lot of apathy now among the supporters as well. And we're desperate now for this season to end and begin the new era. So, what was your thoughts on last night's game, Brush?
It's absolutely ridiculous, wasn't it? I think the worst part of it, Carl, is that we're not shocked.
Mhm.
Like we went into it expecting the worst, and that's exactly what happened. At the weekend against Norwich, our defense was an utter shambles, and that really, was the warning sign of what was to come against Liverpool. I felt we probably should have gone into the game pretty much similar to how Carrick set up against Chelsea. I thought that would probably be the only way we could, try and nick something from it. But yeah, an utter shambles, mate. I've never seen a back five get exposed so easily.
Yeah, I mean, they must have conceded after like 4 minutes. I mean, I put a poll out on Twitter saying in which minute will Liverpool score their first goal, first, second, third, or fourth, and it actually happened. It was the fourth in the end, and it was just Uh, yeah, the first goal, Maguire was caught out of position. Dallo was nowhere near as well. There was two men free out on the right hand side for Liverpool just to pull it back for Diaz to top in the middle. Jones obviously nowhere near Diaz. Yeah, it was just. So I mean, that meant the game plan was completely out the window because obviously it
Yeah,
was about keeping it tight and trying not to concede in the first 30 minutes, but they couldn't even manage 4 minutes. So we knew from then on it was going to be a thrashing. If I'm being honest, I thought it was going to be more than four. If I'm brutally honest, but you know, 4-0 is almost respectable. Given the gulf in class between us and Liverpool, as bizarre as it sounds. The manager was very very forthright after the game, as he has been in the last week or so. A lot of honesty coming from Ranić, which we all appreciate. He said there will be a rebuild for sure. That was obvious in the first 3 or 4 weeks. He said in the summer there's like to be five, six, seven, maybe even 10 new signings. It must be totally unprecedented for a manager to say that in a post-match interview.
yeah. I mean, I think Ralph is in a position now where he's got nothing to lose, so he might as well keep it honest. And how many times have we sat here and said, this is probably what we need, but we just questioned if we were going to get everything done that needs to be done.
Yeah. Well, what has happened today? The breaking news is that Chief Scout Jim Lawler, who's been there since 2005, has gone. As has the Chief of Global Scouting, Marshall Boot, who came in under Van Gaal in 2014. So, do you think possibly Ranić has had an input in that decision?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Apparently, John Murtough's the one that made the decision, but hopefully, him and Ralph, had a chat about it. It's a step in the right direction, but again, you know, Jim Lawler is a very experienced scout. He's been there for many, many years, and I think the problem is whoever, not just the scouting itself, but the final decision makers. So it's all good and well going and getting and replacing the scouting network, but then you need to listen to them.
Yeah, I mean, so many bad signings have been made. Heads were going to have to roll.
Mm,
And the scouting department has been called into question for a number of years now. I mean, Harry Maguire for 80 million, Fred for 52 million. I mean, due diligence obviously wasn't done on Martial's character. Lindelof being chosen over Van Dijk. All these feelings that have been
yeah,
going on for the last season.
the players that we've turned down over the years as well. João Cancelo, we had a chance to sign him. for around 28 million. We said no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm imagining he was available for less money than
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which is a scary thought.
Hmm.
That we managed. I mean, it just seems to be if there's any mediocre players out there, we buy them and we allow all the good players to go to Liverpool or City or Chelsea. It's just utterly depressing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing though, Kyle, like it's very easy for us to just sit and say, oh, so and so manager bought in X, Y, and Z and got rid of so and so. But it's a group collective decision, isn't it? There's a lot of people behind the scenes as well. It's not just all on the manager to make calls. So, you know, we need to look at that as well. Because I know Ollie gets a lot of blame for a lot of the big money arrivals that came in, but is it just him?
No, definitely not. I mean, there's no point in replacing the manager if everybody else in the club is just going to remain the same because
Yeah,
we're just going to get the status quo then. I mean, if there's going to be a revolution, it needs to be done properly. It needs to be changes in all departments. Um,
absolutely. And I think I touched on it last time when we were speaking. If it was indeed going to be Ten Hag that comes in, that can only be the first step in the changes that we need. We can't solely just rely on a manager to come in and fix things. We need the structure above him to be right, and that goes from top to bottom and throughout the club. So yeah, scouting, coaching, everything.
yeah, and another field signing I forgot to mention was Wan-Bissaka, the infamous 804 right backs were scouted, and he was the one that was chosen. I mean, whoever the scout was that came to that conclusion and recommended this player over all the other 803 players, and he surely has to go as well if he's not one of them who's been relieved of duties today. I mean, it's just appalling, isn't
A-
it?
Absolutely. I've seen Rich, aka Eagle Eyed Football, in the chat. Big Palace fan. So me and him have talked about Wan-Bissaka extensively. There was one or two compilations of training videos I saw from his days at Palace, and I was just face farming, thinking, who saw this? And I identified him as the guy.
Would Aaron Wan-Bissaka even get back into the Palace team?
At this moment in time, I'm not sure. I mean, because they've got Ward, I suppose you might be able to work with him, but yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't think he has much of a future at the club under Ten Hag. I very
No,
much doubt it. Attacking fullbacks are a big part of the modern game and modern coaching. I
yeah,
don't see where he fits in. We might have to sell him back to Palace for a cut price because they're obviously not going to buy him back for the price that we bought him for.
yeah. This is the
Yeah,
thing, mate. I think there's a fair few in our squad that you need to we need to be cutthroat. I think for too long we've been cautious because we're scared to take the loss on players, but it just needs to happen.
yeah. Eagle Eyed Football says we don't want him back unless it's just for 10 million. He was asking, should Maguire have been allowed to do the interview? He was already in the firing line. I find it crazy he could do an interview to defend his performances and never around for the post-match interviews. Yeah, that was a very disappointing interview, wasn't it? A Sky where he basically
Yeah.
said that he starts every game for a reason. Is he just completely
Uh,
delusional there?
yeah, I couldn't really believe that, to be honest. Especially with that captaincy armband as well. You would think your captain could be self-reflective and admit when they've not been up to scratch and want to improve and whatnot. But yeah, it was damn near delusional, is what it was.
Yeah, it's scary that these players don't seem to think that they're feeling. I mean, come on, I mean, what planet are they living on? I've
Yeah,
seen a family member of Harry Maguire's has been defending him on social media as well, saying that he's been one of United's best players this season. Okay, your family are always going to protect you, but
yeah,
it's just another sign of the delusion, really. It's for the culture at United now seems to be just pointing the finger at everyone else. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's his fault, and it's his fault. And the
hmm
players seem to just blame the managers and the coaches, and they think they're
yeah.
doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, I read that post. I think it was from his sister. I mean, considering it's his sister, I can understand where she's coming from. But, there's no objectivity there at all. Like, obviously you come to the defense of your family, but yeah, none of what she said made sense with regards to what he's been doing on the pitch.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's just defending the indefensible, really.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of booing our players or anything of that nature, but you are going to get criticised when you don't perform. It's part and parcel of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as part of being a good, strong character is being able to take constructive criticism,
Yeah,
and not take it to heart, or think that it's false. You have to be self reflective
I
as a
think that's
footballer.
the key thing as well, Carl. I think like my thing has always been that constructive criticism is not slander. And obviously, there are those in the fan base who go overboard and start messaging people abuse and all those kind of things, and that's totally wrong. There's no place for that. But purely from a footballing perspective, yes, have your say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would never want to get personal with anyone, but if people want to boo a player for his performances on the pitch, then I think that's justified. How did you
Hmm.
feel about the home fans booing Paul Pogba against Norwich?
Again, it's a double standard, isn't it? How can you boo Pogba, but then stand behind Maguire after what happened uh, on England duty? None of it makes sense to me.
Yeah, there has to be consistency. I know Paul Pogba, as a signing across the last 6 years, hasn't been a
Mm,
success. He certainly hasn't been the only failure at Old Trafford, and not by a long shot.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's
well,
definitely been inconsistencies in Pogba's game over the years, but when I look at where I attribute the blame, I put it more on the club than I do the player. Because we have seen instances where he has balled out and done fantastically well. But you need the right structure and support.
yeah. Well, there is some signs like things are improving off the pitch. With we've seen obviously the scouts go today, and Ranić saying all the things that need to change. It's great to see a lot of honesty. Another thing that he said was Liverpool, City, Chelsea have smart people who take care of recruitment, scouting, the medical department. I think this is also an issue for our club where they have to pay attention to. So in a diplomatic kind of way, he's saying that
Yeah,
our recruitment, scouting, and medical department really needs to be updated and changed massively.
absolutely. And this was one of the key things I was excited when he came in. It wasn't really for the interim thing. It was so that he could, identify these issues and hopefully make those changes when he went upstairs.
Yeah, and the key is I'm liking everything he's suggesting. The key is for him to be allowed to make these changes with Ten Hag and John Murda and so on. It's
Yeah, that's absolutely it, isn't it? He's saying all the right things. He knows the issues and understands them. Now, will he be given the leeway to actually act on these recommendations, or will they take it seriously? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, another embarrassment last night was Mo Salah's interview, which he since obviously denied that he was referencing United players when he said they make it easy for us. He was saying his own midfielders and defenders make it easy for him and his forwards to score, rather than talking about United's midfielders and defense and making it easy for them. Whether you believe him or not, that's up to everybody individually. But if he was, referencing United's players there, again, it's another nail in the coffin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not something that we can really deny as well. Even if you watch the highlights back from yesterday, it was absolute shambles. And it's indicative of this season, isn't it? If we go back to the Man City game and Kevin De Bruyne was saying, "Oh, we trained for about 20 minutes."
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you know, they didn't have to plan for United. Oh,
Do these players have no pride at all, or any, professionalism? They did not get offended by comments like that, because it
uh,
just can.
listen, I think initially you do get offended, but it's just after a while it just sets in. And we've got players here under four different regimes still at the club. It's a scattergun approach over the years. There's people from Fergie's from every single manager's time. There's players there, so um,
Yeah, yeah. Things need to change massively. The usual policy from the club is 3 in, 3 out. I think it's going to have to be 10 out, and
oh, it's yeah, they're gonna have to overhaul that. Yeah, they really need to kick up the backside this summer. And our hand is kind of forced because of all the contracts expiring and stuff as well.
yeah, and Madic obviously has added himself to that list. So that's at least 5 players who will be leaving on
Listen,
free transfer.
thank goodness, because if Nemanja didn't make that decision himself, I'm not sure if we would have let him go. These lot probably would have given him a 1 year extension.
I know. And if they did, it would certainly highlight that nothing much has really changed. But
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
a lot of the players who are leaving were involved last night. Even Pogba came off apparently injured after a few minutes, and another player who's leaving comes on to replace him. I mean, there's something badly wrong about that. That we're
Yeah.
constantly using players who are not going to be there come July. I mean, eh, what the most pleasing thing about last night, that the only silver lining was the introduction of Hannibal, who's the only player probably who showed a bit of fight on the night. He was not going to be intimidated by Andy Robertson. He got booked. He could have even had a second yellow. He's putting himself about that much. And that's
Yeah,
all
he
we
was
want to
proper
see as
hyped up,
fans.
wasn't he? Yeah, yeah, a bit of passion, bit of desire to, yeah, you could tell he was hungry for it to come and just seize the opportunity. Um, and I think the time that he came on was good as well, because obviously, by then the game was long gone, and there was no real pressure on him either. So I think that helped, because this was the thing, Carl. Like, as much as I would love to see more of the young players after I think it was after the Everton game. I just thought, you know what? If we bring the young players into this mess right now, they will just be lambs to the slaughter. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm not sure how quickly I'd bring them in, but yeah, I'm definitely in favor of giving them minutes from now till the end of the season. And it makes more sense than giving it to the likes of Lingard, who are leaving.
yeah. I think there's only 5 games left now, and I mean,
Yeah.
and those include Arsenal and Chelsea. I mean, we're not going to finish fourth.
Mm.
I
But
know
I'll tell you
Arsenal.
what. I'll tell you what's really annoying. I think we probably would have given the kids more of a chance had we not mathematically still been in that top four race. Um,
Yeah, I think once we're mathematically out of it,
yeah,
you'll see the kids
but
starting games.
but that's the thing, though. I mean, honestly, we shouldn't even be in that conversation. But because everybody is fumbling the bag with fourth, we just, when you look at the table, we're still there, and I think that gives them hope and a general reluctance then to use the youth.
Yeah, I can see Hannibal getting more minutes, and Garnacho as well. In the
Yeah.
final 5 games, I think usually our final game of the season is just a testimonial because there's nothing to play for. So I can
Yeah.
imagine both of them will probably start that game.
Yeah, oh, it's Palace as well last day.
Yeah, and last day of the season tends to throw up some ridiculous
Oh, some
scorelines.
crazy results from the last day, isn't it? Yeah, everyone's kicking off at the same time as well.
Yeah, tactics just go out the window. It's just
Yeah,
everybody just goes toe to toe in the final day, and you get 8-0s and 4-4s and 5-3s, and
yeah. I remember, was it 5-5? Was it Fergie's last game?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, against West Brom.
I think we were 5-2 up, and Lukaku got a hat trick.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming on to the player ratings, and there's a few ones and a few nots here now. Was will surprise absolutely no one. So to get a 5, Wan-Bissaka a 2, Maguire a naught, and Jones a 1, Lindelof a 2, Bruno a 2, Matic a 2, Pogba naught, Lingard 1, Rashford naught, Alanga a 2, Sancho a 2, um, and then Hannibal gets a 6 for his cameo. Um, yeah, it was just absolutely abysmal. I think Rashford as well. Um, I watched him, and I've seen this quite a few times from him this season, where when the opposition's in possession, their back four and midfield are knocking around, and he's a statue. He's watching them passing around. He's not pressing anybody, and then
No.
he gives off the illusion that he's working hard when he had that wee battle with Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah.
But for most of the game, he's not even trying. And then he had a couple of chances in the first half, but his first touch just completely let him down. He's
Yeah.
just completely gone off the
And
boil, hasn't
even when he manages to stay on side, he's just not making certain clinical runs. Just that killer instinct is just not there.
he? Yeah, I mean, what is he? I said I joked last night that he's made 301 appearances now for United, and he
Mm.
hasn't had a good game since his 150th appearance. It does feel that long since he had a good game, doesn't it?
Yeah, the thing was, I mean, he used to have big bad patches, but then they were also camouflaged by, one moment of brilliance and the odd goal here and there. Because there was large parts where he would have terrible games, but then he would pop up and score a goal and all's forgotten about. And now that's dried up as well.
Yeah, he was very much a purple patch type player.
Mm,
And now he's just completely gone. He's off on
yeah.
absolutely nothing. Um, could you see him potentially turn it around under a new coach, or do you think United consider letting him go now?
So yeah, I thought about this, and with the amount of surgery that our squad needs, I can see us keeping him. Considering his age as well, because he's still only 24. But I think it's going to be last chance saloon under Ten Hag. I think, give him the summer, see if he can get his head straight, see what he does under the tutelage of Ten Hag. And if we're in the same position this time next year, then I think we'll have a very easy decision on our hands to sell up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if he does get one more season and he puts
Yeah.
in another season like he's done this year,
Mm.
I think that's goodbye, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. He's got to go. If this time next year we're sat here saying the same thing and we've had pretty much what we've seen this year, then yeah, he's got to go. But because of all the other issues, that's not the main one that I would get around to, and the fact that he's 24 and he's got age on his side, and we know that there is a player in there, be it a limited one.
Um, yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's ever going to be a consistent player,
No.
I don't think he's ever going to reach the level of Mbappe. He's always just going to
Oh
be.
no. Yeah. 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 I don't. I never saw his ceiling as being that high, to be honest. So even when people were hyping him up, I didn't think he would get to that. But in order to challenge and to compete, you need a squad, and he certainly is someone who can play a role.
Yeah, if in any United team that wins the Premier League, he's only on the bench. He doesn't be in the starting 11. That's my opinion. If he's
Yeah.
playing well, if he's playing well, that is when he's playing his best. At the moment, I don't think he'd even get on for Burnley. If I'm being honest.
And Rich just touched on something here. Last summer, yeah, I don't think he should have gone to the Euros. I think he should have had his surgery and just chilled out in the summer.
100%, 100%, and he hardly played any role at all until the last penalty shootout of the tournament.
Yeah, just and that helps no one. Like just from a morale point of view, from a mental health point of view, you go there, do that, get criticized, and it's just pandemonium.
Yeah, I mean, he said it was very harsh putting the likes of Rashford and Sancho in that position in the Euros final. They
Yeah,
hardly kicked the ball, and then they were expected to win the tournament for
yeah.
the
I
country.
mean, even in extra time, just bring him on early on in extra time. Let them run around for a bit. Actually be proactive, and especially for us watching that as well. We had PTSD from watching the Europa League final. It was very reminiscent of that.
Yeah, it was, and quite interestingly enough, Villarreal, who beat us in that Europa League final, are
Mm.
now into the Champions League semi-finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Solskjaer is hoping for Villarreal to win the Champions League, so it certainly make him look better.
Listen, I think we're all hoping for a Villarreal win.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely,
yeah, we're certainly hoping for an all Spanish final.
definitely. We don't want the All English final
Oh no, 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 no. That
because
would just
as United fans, we can't win in that situation.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Villarreal winning would be the best outcome, but wishful thinking. I don't think a team's done that since Mourinho's Porto, where they went back to back Europa League and then Champions League.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I think we'd settle for Real Madrid winning their 444th Champions League title. Uh, okay. Anything else that happened last night that really caught your attention?
uh, Not particularly. The main thing was, well, I think you touched on it, the impact that Hannibal made. It was such a short amount of time, but he made an impact. I also thought Sancho was a bright spark.
Yeah, Sancho was quite hit and miss last night. I like the run that he went on. We took it past about three Liverpool players.
Yeah,
Um,
he looks lively for me. I think the problem is that once he makes that run and stuff down the left, there's no one really to pick it up. There's no one to help him out really, and then he just gets stuck.
Yeah, and despite that really great goal against Manchester City, his finishing leaves a lot to be desired at times. Really
Mm,
tame efforts like last night, where it's almost like a
yeah.
pass back to the goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah. Listen, when I saw that, I was like, "Do you know what? That is just one for the statistic books to say that we've got a shot on target."
To be
That's
honest,
yeah,
at half time, I didn't think we'd have a shot on goal in the whole game.
yeah, yeah,
But we managed at least to have a shot, but we weren't competitive
yeah.
and
I
put
was
away.
I was on one of the fan channels, and they hugged each other when we got a corner. That was like that pretty much summed up our first half.
I think we ended up getting more than one corner, which was totally unexpected.
Yeah,
You could have betted a tenner on that and won quite a few
yeah.
quid.
But I'll tell you what though, I get a bit nervous when we get corners because I just think we're going to get caught out.
Yeah,
I'd rather we just, just play it out short, keep possession, keep our shape.
yeah. Our only chance from scoring from a corner really is Telles taking it on Ronaldo being in the middle.
Yeah,
Um, uh, but Telles doesn't really offer much else, really, does he? Apart
not
from those
really.
corners.
No. Yeah, it's been disappointing. And as for Ron, obviously, horrible news regarding him. So, yeah, just all thoughts are with him and his family.
Yeah, we do send our condolences to Ronaldo. It was a real tragic thing. Look at it's tragic. It's a tragedy if it happens to anyone. Really, he wouldn't.
Yeah, it's
He
it's
wouldn't.
one of those unfathomable things in it. You don't even have words for that kind of thing.
Yeah, some things are more important than football. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you wouldn't wish that on your worst
No,
enemy.
no.
Um, but apparently he's back in training this morning. But it
Uh,
doesn't surprise me. He's a trooper, isn't he?
just yeah. I mean, it just speaks to the character of the man. Uh, even for
Yeah.
Saturday, I don't know. He probably wouldn't have been in my thinking. I would have just been like, listen, go take as much time as you need.
Maybe he just needs a distraction from
Yeah,
what's happening.
yeah, maybe so, maybe so.
And maybe he just missed last night because he wanted to comfort his wife.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's the thing, isn't it? Everyone reacts differently as well. So maybe a distraction might do him good. Maybe the football and the training will keep his mind occupied.
but not even he could have saved this last night.
Oh no, no, no! If he was playing yesterday, I mean, we would have just seen multiple clips of him with his arms in the air.
And even another hat trick still wouldn't have been enough to get a point.
No, no. And we've seen it. We've seen it in the last couple of weeks as well, where even when we do start spamming crosses in, he's the only one there. Like, there's only so much one man can do. And this Ronaldo, we've talked about it before. He's a limited Ronaldo. He's not the Ronaldo of old. Like, and he is elite, but you need to feed him. You need to spoon feed him at times.
Yeah, and he's deadly in front of goal when he does get the opportunity.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have to score 2 or 3 at Arsenal. I think if we're going to get a result, because I mean our defending is absolutely
it's
shambolic.
just yeah. Like I say, that was one of the most shocking things for me yesterday. I've never seen a back five just surpassed so easily. I mean, the whole reason you go for a back three is so that you look more secure. And then I just don't understand. And with Maguire, he's put in some of his best performances for England in a back three. So you'd think if anything on paper it would suit him, and it somehow made things worse.
Yeah, I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was bringing Phil Jones out of the cold didn't really work either. He was subbed at
in a
halftime.
game like this as well. I mean, he's had one game back, hasn't he? He's played one game in which he did look decent, considering he hadn't played for 2 years or close to that at the time. But yeah, in a game of this magnitude, it baffled me why you'd throw him out there at the deep end.
Yeah, and he brought Sancho on for Jones. He might as well have just started with Sancho instead of Jones and
Mm,
just had more of a go at it because we
yeah,
conceded after 4 minutes. So what was the point of the back five?
yeah. Also, one thing, I'm sure you've seen the clips of Ronaldo celebrating the goal against Norwich and Maguire just walking back and not partaking in the celebrations at all. Did you read anything into that?
I wasn't aware of it. Which goal are
Oh,
you
okay.
talking about?
Oh, it was the winner. It was the once he scored the free kick, all the players had sort of run to celebrate with him, but Maguire just he just casually jogged back. He didn't partake in the celebrations.
Well, I've long held the belief that there's friction between Ronaldo and Maguire, and that
Yeah.
there just kind of confirms it, really, doesn't it?
Because I remember going back to the Newcastle game was when I first noticed it. That there was usually that there's probably divided lines in that locker room. But yeah, things like this just add on to that, really.
Yeah, and I noticed when Maguire scored the own goal against Tottenham, there was there's a Tottenham player was getting in his face, celebrating in
Yeah,
his face. There wasn't one United player who came to his rescue, and I thought that was quite
yeah,
telling.
yeah. Just kind of left him to it.
Yeah, there was nobody came over to shove the Spurs player or anything.
Mm,
It tells me that there's a lot of division among that dressing room. I suppose in terms of the Maguire Ronaldo situation, this is just me kind of guessing. Maguire was the captain of the team, the leader of the dressing room. As absurd as that sounds now, most of the players probably respected him. But then Ronaldo comes in and he's just on a completely different planet to Harry Maguire.
yeah.
Obviously, players are going to gravitate towards Ronaldo more than Maguire. Maguire loses his authority, and you can easily see why it's caused friction between the two, probably.
Absolutely, especially when you are a player of that magnitude and you've achieved the things in the game that he's done as well. With or without the armband, Cristiano is going to have that influence.
Definitely. I mean, Maguire, I don't think he's ever won anything. His greatest
No,
achievements are being a nearly man on the international stage and getting
he's
to a final and a
he,
semi
he
final.
he's been relegated a couple of times.
Yeah, that's true. And Ronaldo has scored the most number of goals by any footballer ever, and won several Ballon d'Ors and Champions Leagues. I mean,
Yeah,
he just dwarfs
it's
Maguire in terms of achievements.
it's ridiculous, isn't it? Just yeah, yeah.
they shouldn't. They
What do
don't.
you even say to a player like that when you're the captain? Like, it's crazy. It's there's parallels between that to how David Moyes came into the job, because at that time I thought I was so confused by that. Out of all the people they could have gone for, you bring in David Moyes.
I know. Yeah, Maguire has zero authority over
Yeah.
Ronaldo.
And let's not forget that was a title winning side as well. That's when we were still, up there. Granted, it was an aging squad that needed revamping, but we were still very much one of the top teams at the time.
Yeah, I've long held the belief that Mourinho should have taken over from Fergie. When Mourinho came in, I think it was 3 years too late.
Mm.
I think you need to have someone, not just with the coaching ability, but the someone with the personality to coach United. And David Moyes was like a tourist. He was like, "Ooh, look, I'm in
It,
Alice Ferguson's chair."
it was like, yeah, it was reminiscent of winning the golden ticket to the Willy Wonka chocolate factory.
Yeah.
I think he just woke up every morning and just couldn't believe where he was. And you
Yeah.
can't have that. You need someone to come in and just get on with business.
And be honest, Ollie was a wee bit like that too, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah, well, going back to Maguire, me and you have discussed this with almost every United fan, and everybody agrees that he shouldn't be captain. I would go one step further and say he should be sold in the summer. What do you think?
Absolutely, I agree. I think that is best for everyone. It's best for us. It's best for him, because this can't be good for him either. Because every week now, there's a lot of slander out there. Things are getting clipped up as well. I think that's the thing as well. The mistakes that he makes, they're big mistakes that can be highlighted. And I've seen all kinds of compilation videos and stuff. And this can't be good for him. Like, this can't be good for his mental health. And neither is it for us watching it. And honestly, I believe that, he just wasn't the guy. Away from the weight of the price tag and the captaincy, I think he'll be a decent signing for one of the teams lower down the league.
Yeah, it'd probably be great for all parties if someone like Newcastle came in for him. I would
But
love
with
to
what
see that happen.
Newcastle are building, I'm not sure they would want to go there. I could see him at one or two clubs. I could see him potentially back at Leicester. Johnny Evans is finally, he's at an age now where he can't do much. Soyunchu's kind of dipped off a bit. Maguire's 29. He's got something to offer in the immediate. So if they wanted to shore things up a bit.
Well, the owners of this football club will have to be willing to take a huge hit if they're going to
Mm.
allow Maguire to go anywhere, really.
Yeah,
Um, Especially Leicester.
but that's but that's the thing though, isn't it? I think how long do we hold on to a mistake? Like, we've seen how big clubs operate. The likes of Pep Guardiola at Man City. When a £50 million signing doesn't work out, what do? They replace him. They brought in Claudio Bravo. That didn't work. Immediately, he got replaced. They didn't just wait around. They didn't think, oh, we've spent X amount on such and such, so we've got to stick it out. No, they just got rid and moved on.
Yeah, I suppose the business models are slightly different in that they have just endless supplies of
Yeah,
cash,
yeah.
whereas United do not, and they have a budget every year, and obviously we have owners who take out dividends and they pay off
Mm.
interest on debt and so on.
That is true. But if you look at the money that we've spent as well, we have spent a ridiculous amount of money. It's just that it's been mismanaged and it's been wasted.
Yeah, over £1 billion has been wasted in the last
Yeah,
9 years.
yeah.
Nothing to show for it.
Absolutely. Another example, Chelsea. Kepa is the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. Obviously, granted, given the price tag, it is difficult to shift him, but they had no problems in going and getting another goalkeeper and admitting that Kepa wasn't the guy. They've even though they've got Kepa still, he's on the books, but they went and got Mendy.
Well, I would love United to be ruthless and sell Harry Maguire this summer,
Mm.
but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So if say there's an instance in which we don't keep him, strip him of the captaincy and make him third choice centre back.
Definitely. Um, just watching his interview before the game about him saying that he plays for a reason because he's been playing well for club and country. This guy needs to be cut down from his high horse and made.
Yeah, I really didn't understand that one at all. But then one or two of the things he said made me think as well. I was like, well, yeah, well, Harry, I'm sat here kind of confused as well as to why two managers have picked you back to back.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. And especially when you consider that Bailly gets absolutely no opportunities
Yeah,
whatsoever. For me, Bailly is a. I'm not saying he's a world class centre back, but I think he's a far better player than Harry Maguire, much more mobile and
yeah,
quick than Harry Maguire.
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think the
And
only issue that we really had with Bailly is his injury record, isn't it?
yeah, and obviously that's not what Ranić has against him because he played Phil Jones ahead of him, and who has an even worse injury record.
Yeah, yeah. Another guy who has overstayed his welcome and needs to go in the summer.
Yeah, I think Bailly will probably be so fed up himself now that
Yeah,
he will request to leave in June. I think.
yeah. Oh, and another problem we've got, Carl, is Varane. As good as Varane is, and I do think he's good. I think he's our best defender on paper. His injuries, that's a problem.
It's not quite there yet, but it's turning into another Schweinsteiger, I'm afraid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can see glimpses of the quality that he brings, but you need to play. You can't be injured. You
Yeah, which is
cannot be out for as long as he is.
there's been a suggestion from some people that he could be the new captain, but how can he be captain if he's not there playing
Yeah,
most of the time?
exactly. And this is the thing as well. All good teams fundamentally are based on a solid defense that you don't really mess around with. And we don't have that. We don't have a back five that we can just rely on week in, week out.
Yeah, the successful teams right now, Liverpool and City, successful United teams from the Fergie era, it
Yeah,
was consistent back four for most of the 38 games.
exactly. And that centre back pairing, partnership, and understanding is so important. All the best teams throughout the years, they've had it. Like if you go back and look at Chelsea, when they had John Terry and Carvalho, Rio and Vidic.
Yeah, definitely. And Pollister and Bruce,
Yeah,
Ronnie Johnson, Job Stam.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all about partnership. Liverpool have got it now with Van Dijk and Matip.
Yeah, they definitely do. Liverpool are what we were 20 years ago, unfortunately, and we've become what
We've
Liverpool were
become
20 years
them.
ago.
We've
Yeah.
become them. Do you remember the Spice Boys era of
Yeah.
Liverpool? That's what we've turned into. just minus those shocking white suits.
Yeah, yeah, it's a complete role reversal these days.
Yeah.
So last summer we were linked with Pau Torres and Varane,
Hmm.
and we chose Varane in the end. Could we see a situation next season where they're both playing together?
Yeah, I've been seeing some rumors around Pau Torres. Apparently, he's on the list still. I don't know how I feel about him. In terms of, is he the right level of quality? I mean, the main thing that appeals to me is that, well, at least he's got age on his side and he's injury free. And we're at a point now where that, takes precedent.
Definitely. And Villa centre back is almost a good centre back right now. Well, not really because Harry Maguire is always available. But Pau Torres, what I like about him is that he's captain material. He's
Yeah,
captain of the Villarreal team who are in the Champions League semi-finals, and he's left-footed, which is something I don't think we have in any of our centre backs at the moment.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm not. I haven't seen him, consistently. I've seen him, now and again. He looks like a fairly decent player. I'm not sure if he's one of the top defenders in the world, but
Yeah.
he must be doing something right if he's winning the Europa League one season and getting the Champions League semi-finals the next, and he's captain the team and he's playing at the back.
Yeah, and that's the
Uh,
thing. I mean, we're at a position now where I think, does everyone need to be a world beater that comes in? Like, there's something to be said for someone that just gives you a solid 7 out of 10 every game.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't think in any team who wins the Champions League or their domestic league, I don't think all 11 players are world class.
No, no, there's select players, and then there's some players that just play a role, but it's a very useful role.
And there's a real shortage of world class centre backs in football now. Anyway,
Yeah,
so when you take that into account, Pau Torres is probably one of the better ones. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't be against that signing.
yeah,
Obviously, there's also been the rumor about Timber coming in from Ajax, but
mm,
he's very very young and
very young. And also, this is the other thing. Man United are a totally different kettle of
mhm.
fish to Ajax. I think I can't imagine the pressure on the players if we sign a few from Ajax. I mean, there are a few that I've had my eye on, and I think, oh, I wouldn't mind one or two of these guys. But obviously, yeah, the weight of expectation at our club is totally different. The league as well is totally different. Yeah, people would have to be patient if we were to sign from them.
I think with regards to Timber, the ideal scenario for him at United would be the third choice centre back.
Yeah,
Far too much pressure on him to come in and start every week and expect him to perform to a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 every week.
yeah, exactly. And the thing with young centre backs is that they will make mistakes.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially in our league. I think a good example though of someone where we've seen both sides of that is at Crystal Palace with Mark Guéhi, uh, who they brought in from Chelsea this season. Very young centre back. Yeah, you can see the raw potential there. There's some moments of real quality, but there's also some naivety as well in some of the mistakes he's made, and you just think, yeah, that's he's going to have to iron that out of his game, but that comes with experience and age.
Yeah, I just he's probably the timing of it probably wouldn't be right for a young Timber. Maybe leave him at
Yeah,
Ajax for another year or so and bring in a more experienced defender like Torres.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. We would have to. I think we just have to play it by ear, don't we? I wouldn't be against. I wouldn't be against any young player coming in with potential because I think that's kind of where we need to go. To be honest, I don't think we're gonna. I'm not even considering or talking about winning things. I think I just want to see a good, solid 90 minutes of football first. So,
Yeah.
in Ten Hag's first season, all I'm expecting is to establish a style and system. And then if we can see that the recruitment policies changed as well, and the players being brought in are ones to fit that system, then that's all I want to see, really.
Definitely. When we as the summer transfer window develops, we'll get to know whether or not the culture of the club is changing and the the, the recruitment is changing, the recruitment
Yeah,
policy is changing because yeah, if we sign a big name who's over the age of 30, nothing's
yeah,
changed. If
yeah,
we're bringing in young players from across Europe who fit Ten Hag's style of play, then we know things really have
Yeah, yeah.
changed.
If we find some slightly obscure diamonds in the rough, the ones that go under the radar, the ones that we need to Google basically and be like, who?
Yeah.
Opposed to 100+ million signing of, say, a Declan Rice, who I do like Declan. I think he's a good player, but the prices being quoted are ridiculous. And if we spend that kind of money on him, we'll be sat here this time next year, saying the same things, going, "Where's it gone wrong? How have we turned Declan Rice rubbish?"
You think that's why they are rumored to be looking at Calvin Phillips, because he'd be a cheaper option than Declan Rice?
I don't know how much cheaper he would be.
Well, if West Ham are quoting 150 million, then he's bound to be cheaper.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though, isn't it? If West Ham are quoting 150 for Rice, then everybody else marks up their assets accordingly. So, because I quite like the look of Ruben Neves last summer, and last summer I think it would have been achievable for around 35 to 40 million. Now that Rice is, priced at over 100 million, there's I've spoken to one or two Wolves fans, and they're like, yeah, well, if he's going for over 100, we would want at least 60 for Neves.
Yeah, you couldn't blame him. I think he's only going to have 1 year left on his deal, though, this year. Isn't that right? For Neves.
If that's the case, then hopefully there's some leeway.
Yeah, and I think Barcelona are very keen on him too, so we might have
Mm,
competition for Ruben Neves if we decide to go in
mm.
for him.
Yeah, and he's had another solid year again, so he's only added to it, really. So yeah,
Yeah, I think it's last season we really wanted a midfielder. I think this season it's definitely going to happen, and I can't wait to see
yeah,
who it's going to be.
and it's gonna have to be more than one if we're honest.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, or the second one could be Jimmy Garner. He's really turning up at Nottingham Forest.
Oh, I think he should definitely be brought into the fold. I just, I would like to integrate him properly though. So, so we're going to need more experienced players there as well to sort of take the heat off of him.
Yeah, but it remains to be seen if we're going to sign more than one midfielder, because we need to sign a right back, we need a centre back, a left back, a striker, a
A
right
right
winger.
winger.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I mean. And it's when we add all these things up. That's why I think that Rashford's going to get another year at least. I just think, yeah, when we try to break it down in order of importance, I'd probably leave those positions for now, the further forward ones, and work from our way, from the core onwards. Yeah, defensive midfielder. We absolutely need a proper DM, potentially another midfielder. Pogba's going, so how do you replace Pogba? I hear that Yuri Tielemans is available for around 25 million with just a year left on his contract. If there's any truth to that, that's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, he's a player I've always been a fan of. He seems to wanted out of Leicester for a little while now.
Yeah, especially at that price, if that's to be believed, and he's about 25, so perfect age as well.
Well, do you know what? It's about time that we robbed Leicester rather than them robbing us.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I would like us to be smart in the market, and there is value there. You just have to look for it. I was quite annoyed in the January window that we didn't sign anyone. The one that I had my eye on was Bentancur. Initially, when he was linked with Aston Villa, I was like, oh, we should be all over this. Because I've seen Bentancur before. I think the price drop probably reflects the fact that he's not had the best of times at Juve over the last year or so, but he was still only 24 years old. And it's one of those where you just do it because it makes sense. It's minimal risk at that age, and a player with that quality, even if it doesn't work out, you're going to get your money back at the very least. And look what he's doing now for Tottenham.
Yeah, the two loan signings from Juve at Tottenham have been absolutely fantastic in the last 3 months, haven't they?
Kulusevski, yeah, Kulusevski's another one. He went to Juventus with a big reputation, and though he's not worked out, he's only 21 years old.
Yeah.
And Spurs have the option to buy for around 30 odd million. I mean, it's looking like a bargain, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer really for Tottenham, that one.
Yeah.
How do you feel about potentially signing Christian Eriksen? Would you think that would be a good option?
Ooh, Would he be a free signing? Would he?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
It,
mean, listen, we've seen at Brentford, he's still got the quality. He's still got the
oh,
quality. I don't know what kind of wages he would command. I'm not sure if you could rely on him week in, week out. He might be a rotation option if he were to come to us.
yeah, well, it could be an option. No, you said there we need to sign two midfielders. If we're going to spend a lot of money on one, then he could be the second one because he'll be on a free transfer. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I think with him though, I think it kind of depends what Ten Hag has planned for Bruno, because I see him just as a proper 10 further forward up the field.
Yeah, definitely. Predominantly, Ericsson has played as a 10, but I've watched him at Brentford, and I've seen him play a bit deeper and
Yeah,
he's playing the diagonal balls left and right, and
yeah,
he,
yeah. He's capable of doing that.
yeah, so he could play that role as well alongside a DM if necessary. So yeah, it's really up in the air. I mean, it's Man United. We're going to be linked with 1,000 players, and we'll only sign 4 or 5 in the end. So
Yeah,
it's really hard to predict, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens, really. Um, Obviously, some of these signs are promising. The fact that they are making changes, but the truth. Yeah, we'll just have to wait for the summer. Really, the proof's in the pudding, as they say.
Yeah, and we're patiently waiting on the managerial announcement, which we thought we might have had already, but it hasn't happened just yet.
Yeah, I mean, we figured it would happen this week sometime, right? The PR team's very good at deflecting after a negative result, so I expect it to be announced sometime this week.
Yeah, I honestly thought we would get it the first thing this morning to deflect from
Yeah,
that defeat.
yeah. And if it goes pear shaped on Saturday against Arsenal, then expect us to be linked with some big money signings.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you see the Arsenal game going? If I heard to predict, Arsenal are out of form as well. So
Yeah, no one wants that fourth spot, do they? Everyone's just losing left,
no,
right, and centre. Yes, a few surprising results as well, actually, for Arsenal recently. Games that you would expect them to win, they've gone and lost. But yeah, games against with our teams, it's yeah, league form goes out the window, doesn't it? Both sets will be up for this game.
yeah, I mean, I thought Spurs were looking pretty good for fourth, and then they went and lost at home to Brighton. It's just
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, it's
Nobody.
crazy. It's a crazy league. And also with Arsenal as well, they have a similar problem to ours where they just haven't got anyone up top. I mean, for us, obviously Ronnie, but if Ronnie's not available, then we struggle, and they have a lack of firepower as well.
When Ronaldo isn't available, we struggle because Cavani can't be
He's
arsed
on
anymore.
holiday.
Yeah,
Cavani's on holiday. He's checked out.
yeah, it is farcical, really. That
Yeah, it's a terrible situation that. Yeah, and that's another thing actually. It makes you wonder about Martial as well in the summer. Um, for me, I mean, it's a no-brainer to sell him, especially because this is probably the last chance we'll get to sell him because he's got 12 months left on his deal. But could he be a Ten Hag kind of player? And if we're limited to 4 or 5 signings, then does that mean automatically he becomes our second choice striker?
yeah, that is a possibility. It'll be up to him whether he'll be accepting of that role or not. Ronaldo and his
Yeah,
ego might not like it, but maybe he's reached 37 now. He might think that
yeah.
I have to be realistic. I'm not going to play every game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, with Ronaldo, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I'm not against keeping him. I think he's shown enough that he is class, but he can't do it every single game. He can't be leading the line weekly. So there will need to be a bit of rotation.
Yeah, I think we're going to sign a younger striker.
Yeah.
No matter what happens. The ideal
Yes.
the ideal candidate has to be Darwin Nunez from Benfica.
Yes. Yeah, he looks quality, but I think he's put in 1 or 2 performances that have been highlighted recently as well. And with that comes the increased price tag, which is my worry.
Yeah, we just gotta hope that he has a buyout clause there that
Yeah.
we can activate.
Yeah, if there is, that would be great. But you know how it goes. You score 1 or 2 of these goals, especially in the Champions League, and they just go and add 15, 20 million on top to their values.
Yeah, definitely because he scored against Bayern, Liverpool,
Yeah.
Ajax, and I think every single goal he scored in the Champions League has come against one of the big kind of
What? Yeah, one of the
big
half
clubs.
decent teams. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, so it shows that it's not just the Portuguese league that he's performing in; he's performing at the
Yeah,
highest level.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
and he's 22 years of age, so um, Uruguayan, so he speaks Portuguese. You know, they might take a look at it and think, yeah, this might be the perfect person, especially under the tutelage as well of Ronaldo. Might be able to learn off him.
yeah, I hope the presence of Ronaldo might entice him.
Yeah,
I mean, he could be the new Cavani. We could be like getting Cavani only at 22 years old. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
that would be brilliant.
So I know it's impossible, but what is your prediction for the Arsenal game, given that Ronaldo is probably going to be available now?
Oof, I really couldn't. I really couldn't because honestly, even before the Liverpool game, it's been an utter shambles, hasn't it? Just because I looked at the goals that we conceded against Norwich, and we made Timo Pukki look like Harry Kane.
Yeah, yeah, it was diabolical.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for De Gea, that game's gone.
Yeah, and I've got to say, we've obviously focused our attention quite a lot on Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof, but I've
Mm,
got to say, Alex Telles is absolutely atrocious at defending. He
yeah,
can't even do the basics. Uh,
no.
no, positional play is all over the place. He just he can't he can't tackle. He can't defend the back post.
All he can do is go forward, but then you question his crossing as well. So
Yeah, it's hit and miss too. Yeah.
yeah,
So he's only playing in the off chance that he might provide a corner for Ronaldo to head in, and
yeah,
that's it really. He's been another dreadful signing.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I can say for him is, the price tag wasn't too high. If you were to sell, you'd probably get most of your money back.
We paid nothing for him because
Yeah,
Smalling went out on the same day for the same money. So it's
yeah.
just one in, one out there again. So yeah, my prediction for Arsenal, I think it's going to be chaotic. I think it's going to be goals. I'm sorry to say, I think I'll go a 3-2 win for Arsenal.
Oof. I'm not even going to make a prediction. I don't like predicting against us, but at the same time, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't want to jinx it anyway.
Yeah,
Because it's Arsenal as well. I'm just gonna leave it to the stars and hope for the best.
yeah. I was thinking 2-2 there a minute ago, and I just remembered how bad our defense is, and just
Yeah,
I think with Arsenal being at home, I think they'll be up for it. The crowd are always up for it when Man United come to town.
yeah, yeah. That's what it
Uh,
is. The first game was utterly chaotic as well. I wasn't sure how we ended up winning that one, to be honest. Um,
yeah, I know. Yeah, we didn't look. A lot of the wins that we have got this season, we didn't deserve
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. And there was that crazy Smith Rowe goal as well. Do you
Yeah,
remember?
Fred stood on De Gea's foot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. That was mad. But yeah, all we can do is hope for the best, isn't it? Looking at the table as well, what a shift it would be if we did get the 3 points.
Definitely. I mean, it puts us back in the hunt again for
Yeah,
top four, which is incredible, really.
yeah, that would be
Okay,
something.
we'll leave it there for tonight. If everyone could please subscribe to the channel, comment your predictions for the Arsenal game down below, and give us a wee like on the video. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you back on the show, Brush.
As always, hopefully the next time it will be, to discuss some positive results.
Yeah, some positive results, some positive signings. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the transfer window now,
Yeah,
more than the games, and that's been the way for quite a while now,
I,
as
I'll,
you
I'll
mentioned.
I'll tell you, what, over the years, it's quite depressing actually because there definitely comes a point in the season where you're like, oh, I can't wait till this is over. Can't wait till the summer. But then the summer comes around and then you're stressed out because we can't relax knowing that, Ed Woodward and co are going to do the right things.
Yeah, well, thankfully Edward's not there
So,
anymore.
yeah, so he's gone. So this summer, hopefully, we will see actual change.
Yeah, and get good signings and signings early, not making signings in August like we usually do.
Yeah, identifying more than one target, that would be nice.
Yeah, yeah. hopefully things will start to improve this summer, and by the end of the Ten Hag's first contract, which is believed to be around 3 or 4 years, we will be back winning titles again. But that's kind of the dream scenario at the moment, because
I
we're a
mean,
long way.
literally everything would have to go to plan for it to
Yeah,
work that way. Yeah, yeah.
and
I'm
Klopp and
just,
Guardiola would probably have to leave their respective clubs as well for that to happen.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Our ascendancy would have to sort of coincide with their decline. So yeah, one or two of their key players sort of being on the wrong side of 30, and then maybe a managerial change.
Yeah, and we need to be there to pounce.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where I think we have got one or two pieces to build around, like Sancho, who's 22. So, if we bring in one or two other players as well, similar age to him, in 2 years' time, maybe we'll, be much further along to where we need to be.
Yeah, hopefully it's all about the football people making football decisions, and then we might see progress towards that goal.
Absolutely.
Okay, then I'll see you till next time.
Take care.
Okay, bye.